You're listening to the Media Man Dan podcast, your place for music, movies, news, reviews, and interviews. Welcome to the show. Get ready to rock. Let's rock! What's up, guys? I am Media Man Dan, and today I am joined by one of the greatest people on the planet, Mr. Brian of Inspiring How You See That. And just in case you guys are like, who the hell is that guy? Apparently 40,000 people know who he is, and 10,000 people are subscribed to him, like you guys should be. So go make sure that you're into that channel right after this. It's going to be in the description down below. Feels good to do that again. It's been a while since I did a reaction. Brian, how's your day going? How's your year going? How's life, man?
Good, man. And thanks for that. I'm going to hire you to be my hype man. That was incredible. Thank you.
That's it. It's the marketing strategy.
That's right. No, things are going good, man. It's been busy, with work and everything and with the channel. But, I can't complain. Life's been good and God's been good. So I'm loving it.
Absolutely. God is always good. For everybody listening, that is for everyone in every religion. God is a great thing to have, and we believe in him very, very clearly. And he got the greatest green screen for Brian. I don't know where Brian is at right now. Some frozen
actually this isn't green screen. I'm actually sitting outside right now. No, I'm just kidding.
He's in the Arctic. He's got the northern lights off in the distance.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice.
All right. Brian, I have never actually, I will say this. I have known you for like 2 years. We're coming up on 3 years, right?
At least. It might be close to 4.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And yet I still don't go into anyone's like personal background history. I mean, the guy I just interviewed on Monday, he told me last minute that he was in karate. And I was like, oh my God, I should have asked him about karate stuff before. But I was able to do that. So tell me something fun about the good old days as a younger Brian, only like 2 years ago, right?
Oh boy. So, I mean, honestly, I've had a good life, but it's been, pretty boring by comparison to a lot of people. I started working right out of high school. I throughout the years, I ended up getting my degree and getting my master's degree in business administration. And I've worked for pretty much the same company almost my whole life. And it's been great. I come from a good family. I'm blessed with everything like that. But really, for a long time, I felt like something was kind of missing. Like there was, it's hard to explain, but it's almost like I felt like my purpose I wasn't really fulfilling. And I didn't know what that was until, shortly before we met. And it might have been actually around the same time. My buddy Kevin and we would go to concerts with him and his wife. And, I'd always go and I'd talk to the artists. And they're like, hey, you want to hang? I'm like, all right, cool. And he came up with the idea of let's start a YouTube channel where you interview artists. I'm like, all right, I don't know how to interview. I'm like, what do I do? I've never run a YouTube channel, never interviewed anybody. But I got to tell you, it's been, since we started doing that, it's been one of the most rewarding things of my life. I didn't know that that's what I needed to really kind of fill that hole that I had, to take my passion for music and my ability to talk to people and put them together. And it's been incredible. And it all started with my very first interview was First to 11. I was taking guitar lessons from Matt, the guitarist. They're here in my hometown of Erie, PA. And I was like, hey, can I interview you guys? And I had no clue what I was doing. And it just, after a couple minutes, my nerves went away. I'm sweating bullets at first. There's a camera on me. I'm like, probably look like an idiot. I still do, but whatever. But after a couple minutes, I just calmed down and it became a conversation. And I was like, this is awesome. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. And the fact that you started out by saying that you had a boring life, I have seen your incredible collection of merchandise boring my ass. I could not even dream of having just the hallway that you do of signed items. But having that opportunity to talk to any artist, which now I am definitely understanding where you're coming from, sweating bullets on my first and second interview, and basically anytime I'm sitting in this chair, I'm sweating bullets. It's so scary at first, but then you get so
Yep.
comfortable and you're just listening and you're actually conversating with, a human being as
Yep.
opposed to just looking at a camera and saying your opinions to it. It's a very different thing. So it's really nice to have the responses that you get from these artists, and especially when you can go off of things that are very exciting. So let's go back to this master's degree in business and this same job that you've been working at. Dude, this is an incredible thing. You've been working at this place for a long time, and you've moved up because that is the way the business should work, as you
Hmm.
definitely would know. But what kind of school experience did you have that really told you to go into business and stick with it for that long? I could never go past an associate's. I'm so bad at school.
Well, honestly, I kind of started working first. So, like I said, I mean, right out of high school, and I work for Erie Insurance, and I have pretty much my whole life. I started working there, and they had a tuition reimbursement, so I went back in school, and eventually I got my bachelor's in business administration from Edinburgh University here in Erie. And I was like, all right, that's just cool. And it felt like you had to get the degree if you wanted to move up, how it is. And as time went on, I was like, why not go get a master's? Might as well. So I went to Penn State Barron, which is the Penn State campus here in Erie. And I got my master's degree. And then people are like, oh, you want a PhD? I'm like, nope, I'm done with school, man. Like, I've had enough. I don't need any more.
That was like what,
Man.
6, 7, maybe even 8 years?
Oh, yeah. Plus, in addition, I mean, I've taken a lot of insurance courses. I have some designations for that. So some of those are kind of like taking master's level classes, but it's like it's worth it because it helped me learn more. It helped me be prepared for my role that I have now, which I really enjoy. So, at times it was kind of like, what am I doing? I'm putting in all this effort. Wait, it's taking up a lot of my time. But now that it's done, I could see it was well worth it.
Absolutely. And I also don't want to brush over the fact that you said that you're learning guitar from Matt from First to 11. We met through the First to 11 Bonkers group chat
Yep.
created by their biggest fan. I have to say this, F211 Bonkers channel on him
Yep.
all the way over in where is he? Bangladesh? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Like he brought all the people in the fucking planet to come together into this group chat, and we're talking with people that don't even get close to speaking the same English that we do here in America, and
Yep.
we're trying to translate everything. But then Brian ends up in our chat one day because Onum is like a spy in the inside. I don't know what he does, but he was probably just like stalking the chat, and he was like, oh, they said Brian at this point of the chat. I must contact this man, and he will end up here. But what happened with us is that we both talked about country music,
That's right.
and that's how we really bonded. And all the people on that chat I was like ignoring for the longest time, just waiting for your responses because you were typing as fast as me. For the first time I was like, somebody gets me. This is amazing.
Felt the same way, man. I was like, oh, somebody that likes country and metal and everything in between. I was like, that's me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we were big rock fans, of course, but it's
Yep.
always nice to know somebody that likes another genre that you're also interested in. Do you like swing jazz as well?
Um, yeah, I'll say yes. It's not one of my favorites.
That's okay. It's okay. I love it. I love it. I could listen to it all day long.
Jazz is one of those weird things. I don't like a lot of jazz, but there's some that is really cool. I guess with me, it's when I listen to a lot of jazz, I feel like there's not a lot of structure,
Yes.
and that's what kind of throws me off.
Yeah, it is considered the classical pop. That's what they considered Frank Sinatra. That's actually one of his genres is pop music. Because
Mm,
back in the day, popular music was pop music. It wasn't electronic. We didn't have the beats that make you jump up and down and rave. This was their way of expressing themselves, but also very catchy. So it has the same like type of I could say structure as pop music, where
Right.
you're going to hear the same thing over and over. It is complex though, because of course they have big band swing jazz as well that I truly love. Glenn Miller being one of the big ones, and you get the big band, the full brass section, all of the instruments behind you, and you have this vocalist just killing it. Incredible stuff. I gotta say this. At Last, we all love it. I think it's by Aretha Franklin that made it famous, was
Was it
originally by
was it
Glenn
her?
Miller. Like it
At
was
last.
originally by him.
Was that Etta James?
Oh, it could have been Ida James.
I think it
Yes.
was, yeah.
Correct. I apologize. I am wrong about that artist. But regardless, the first I've ever heard of it was that mainstream famous one. So when I heard Glenn Miller's band do it, I was like, he did it first. He
Yep.
made this song. And that happens with so much music. You can go back in time,
Oh
especially
yeah.
now where pop music has taken so much of the 80s and 90s. Yeah, have you heard like these remixes? I'm Blue, I Want to Dance with Somebody. They're just taking all of the same stuff and then they're adding the modern style texture to it. It's like, stop touching incredible music. Just
Yep.
leave it alone and make something new.
Yeah, I'm torn on that because I feel the same way as you a lot of times, or especially if it's a specific classic song that's like extremely well known.
Yes.
And like I'll think of like Dream On, which is one of my favorite songs. It's like don't mess with it. If you're gonna cover it, cool, but don't go changing it. But then on the flip side, I've seen bands that may take a song and completely change it around and it worked. For example, The Warning. What
Yes.
they did with Alessia Cara with Metallica's Enter Sandman, exactly, was incredible. It completely changed the song. Like it was something new, but
Yes.
it was fantastic because they made it their own. So I guess it depends on how good they are at that.
Yeah.
Depends on whether I like it or not.
I agree. And since you said Dream On, I do have to bring up Eminem's not cover, but sample that he used on his song Sing for the Moment, taking something that is extremely well known, the chorus of that with the incredible vocals of Steven Tyler, and adding a completely different tone and story is a great way to pay homage to any music that is from the older days. And you're like, oh, I want to do something right. But these pop artists, they don't have that kind of creativity because they're thinking, I want to do something that'll make people dance again. And it's like, well, of course, I want to dance with somebody, made people dance. I'm going to do exactly that and just add random things. And here's my biggest problem with this kind of trend. We have a day now, like in our day and age, in this moment, all of these pop artists that were like very clean have all gone explicit, and they'll
Yeah,
add these explicit lyrics to the song. So what happens when you add explicit lyrics to a song and you have the next generation that's trying to listen to it? Oh, that's right. They can't hear it on Spotify because
mm-hmm.
their parents have a blocker on there to keep them away, unless, of course, they have internet access other ways. But like if you wanted to stream this music, you're only going towards adults at that point. And the fact that you're using explicit language is going to really kill your market. Anybody that knows in like movies, if you put out a rated R film, you're not going to get as many people as if it's PG-13. Hence
Yeah,
why we have Megan, the unfortunate PG-13 movie, and it could have been uncut, unrated, the R-rated version that was supposed to be, but they were like, now we want more people. We want to make this more famous. So they do the same thing with music. It's all
yeah.
marketing. As you would know, a businessman yourself, we want to make sure supply demand and that the people that are, demanding it are old enough to take in the product.
And like me, I kind of look at that. I get kind of sick of the explicit all the time. It's like, all right, enough's enough. You get to the point where it's like, man, and I don't mind a some. I'm definitely not a prude when it comes to music, but when it's constant, to me, it's like you're trying too hard to sound tough or to sound edgy, and to me, it comes across as you're not a very good lyricist. If that's what you've got to rely on to make your point,
Yep.
to me, it's like you're not good at telling the story properly. The same with movie scripts. Again, I can handle some of that. I get it. Sometimes the situation calls for it, but over reliance on it turns me off. A lot of that is because of my faith, but a lot of this I just get sick of hearing it, and it's let's get some more creativity. Let's and also let's act with a little bit more integrity.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Grammys this year. It's like, really, is this what we've become? Whatever someone's political views are, it's like this is not who we should strive to be.
Mhm.
It's like,
Absolutely.
what is going on here?
Things that were supposed to be behind closed doors, keep it to yourself, are
Yep,
now put out into the open so that we can consistently consume it and desensitize ourselves to this extremely explicit nature.
yep,
Now, the issue, once again, being that children should not consume that. And if they don't consume it, how do you expect to be famous from it? And how do they get famous? That's probably a conspiracy in itself. But for me, I can say that, like, yeah, you were absolutely spot on with your criticism of the lyrics. If you're using a swear word in place of something, especially if you're like covering something and you're like, oh, I'm going to throw in a swear word just because it sounds right for the amount of syllables I need, it's like, that's stupid.
that's weak.
That's
That's
really
weak.
dumb. You have all the choices in the world. You have every word known to man that you could put in there. There is some excellent poetry that comes from really good music.
Yep.
And all you have to do is just make it rhyme. That's the simplest little thing. And they're like, nah, I'm going to say motherfucker. And
Yeah,
it's like, that
exactly.
doesn't do anything. That does nothing for your song. And it just makes me immediately go, oh, I'm not listening to the song I thought I was listening to. I
Exactly.
thought I was
Yep.
listening to something that was good and catchy, but I'm not gonna, I can't feel anything from that. Okay, cool. You're a badass now. Look how edgy you are.
Yep.
We can talk about someone who's very good at business. I was telling you beforehand, Tom McDonald, when he puts out his content, he has two versions. The one that
Yep.
goes straight on YouTube, and that one will have no language. He will make sure that if he puts in overdub or something like that, or if he just cuts the word altogether, that the song still flows, that the beat still works with everything. It's not going to do the record scratch that they used to do in the 2000s. that was
Yep.
that was the most popular thing. They were like, oh, we can't say that word. Or the background, or not the background, the back play. Oh,
Yep.
that sounds terrible too. The reverse.
Yep.
But yeah, I love that perspective. If you don't know what you're doing and you're just putting a swear word in there, it's very obvious that you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. Oh,
Yes.
and Tom McDonald's a great example. He's one of the rare, what I'll call rappers. Because I'm just not a big fan of rap. I respect the fact that people love it. It's just not my thing. But I like Tom McDonald. I like a lot of his, because not everything he does is rap. I mean, he does, kind of like some punk stuff.
Yeah.
And you make a good point, because he'll put out a version that I can listen to, and I'm like, all right, cool, this is good, and I can have my parents listen to it, and I don't feel embarrassed. And that's cool.
Absolutely. The only thing that like really doesn't work for some people is the tattoos. And it's like, well, it's not like he can take them off.
Exactly.
You can't be like, oh, let me just remove those tattoos so they don't bother you anymore.
Exactly.
And the
Yeah.
piercings, it's like, I'm sorry, that's just who he is. But listen to the words, listen to the message. And
Yep.
this is the thing, I will play devil's advocate with the curse word area when it comes to the genre of metal. There are some songs where they need an angry vibe, and the best
Sure.
way to express yourself is to use that kind of language, as long as it fits within the song and it wasn't just like, yeah, I'm just gonna swear for no apparent reason right here
Yeah.
because I thought that sounded better on the beat than an actual word.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for the audience unless they are also a rageaholic and they're like, yeah, fuck this guy, yeah. That's what people, we have all kinds of language out there. We have all kinds of people in the world, and yes, there's audiences for everyone, and
Yep.
there's bands for everyone. Like we are made to consistently consume things. That is how the world works. So the best thing you can do is, promote something that hopefully has a message. Hopefully, most music that is going to be in the super duper insanely hot mainstream is not going to have much of a message,
Yeah.
or
No
it will
kidding.
be about breaking up with your girlfriend, boyfriend. Always going to be something about breaking hearts. And oh my goodness, if they don't have a ballad about how somebody broke their heart, it's absolutely a waste of time. Apparently, that's what the record producers think. Because I'm telling you, I'm gonna throw some shade somewhere. Olivia Rodrigo, your album has zero content about anything except for this ex-boyfriend and one song about your mom. That
I
is
mean,
just
it's the Taylor Swift model. Let's be honest.
it worked though. It worked. There were some people that made it incredibly well. I could say Reba McEntire had a ton of relationship problems and did put that in music, but she did that probably therapeutically, which I'm guessing so did Taylor Swift in the beginning. But now it seems like much of a guaranteed this is what T Swift is going to do kind of situation. It's no longer a I'm going through this pain. It's that I need to write this because people expect it.
Yep.
And I feel like her fans aren't seeing through that. And Swifties, you can attack me all you want in the comments. Do not attack Brian though, because he's too cool. He's too cool for you. I'm sorry. You're wrong. All of your opinions are wrong. You attack me all you want. I'm happy to fight back because Taylor Swift has changed so much over the years. We both come from loving country music,
Yep.
true country music that is, and we understand that her beginning was very nice. She had really good music
Yep.
overall and excellent lyrics.
Her
My
first
favorite
album was
song
fantastic.
Yeah, my favorite song was Mean. I loved
Hmm.
the idea that everybody that's ever been bullied, like me, would be able to have a song that they can be like, "Oh, they're just a mean person. They don't have any explanation and don't hold it against yourself." Like that's a perfect storytelling song. Also, I love the
Yep.
video for it. There's a really simple stuff and it worked extremely well to, give the entire impression that the song was supposed to. Now, let's go into one of her modern songs. I'm going to bring up my least favorite one. Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods? Are we in the clear yet? Are we in the clear yet? Are we in the clear yet? In the clear yet? Good. Wow, guys. What a lyrical mastermind. I don't know how I would ever come up with something as brilliant as these lyrics.
Exactly.
Like how could I ever express myself in any other way than saying the same thing six fucking times? It's crazy to me because this is like one of the things that the stars they all look at and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to do the exact same thing." So what did we get? We got Gucci Gangs in the big mainstream. It gets viral sensation and so therefore it has basically little to no message most of the time. There was
Yeah.
one song, I think that Coffee for Your Head song was okay, but it was super depressing. I don't like being depressed.
Well, see, and here's the thing: like I like sad and depressing songs for me, but I'm with you, and we've talked about this many times before. It's most of the bands and the music that I like is not what's popular. And now, don't get me, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, if something's popular, it sucks. There's some if I like it, I like it. I don't care whether it's popular or not. But I happen to find that most of what's popular I don't like because to me it feels empty.
Mhm.
It feels just like you were saying. A good song to me either makes me feel something or tells a story. And a lot of what you hear on radio today, whether it's pop or country, it's just forgettable, in my opinion. It's like 5 minutes there. I'm like, I can't even tell you what that song was about. There's no feeling to it. Whereas a
Yes.
lot of the bands that I love that are, like mid level popularity, they're telling the stories. They're making you feel something. And that's what I love. And back to Taylor Swift. I mean, I'm not a fan of hers just because, again, I don't think she sucks. I think she's got talent, but I don't understand the whole like worship of her. I think she's ridiculously overrated, and I'm not trying to be mean to her, but it's just I don't get it.
Yeah.
And but I will say one thing to her credit: when she started making pop and left country, she did come out and say, "Hey, I'm not country anymore." I respect that. Because what I
Yes.
don't like are people like, I'm a country artist and they're rapping. I'm like, yeah, that's not country. Go do what you want. That's fine. Make all the music you want. Don't pretend that it's country because you want to get the country fan. That's what rubs me the wrong way.
That's exactly how I was feeling from Hardy's new album for the
Mm-hmm.
first 5 to 6 tracks. And then he had like that song about country like being dead. And I was like, how dare you, bastard? How could you ever say country's dead? Next song, I'm like, I love you, bastard. You're so good. This is the best thing I've ever heard. Rock and country mixed together, metal and country mixed together. What?
Yep.
What? Like that is a good surprise. There are some artists out there, like you said, that are fitting into this modern day type of country pop, whatever you want to say. And it doesn't give you the same feelings that you would get from like an old song because they're expressing themselves back in the day. Now it's just how catchy can you be? How
Yep.
many girls are going to pay for your show? Like the guy Bo Burnham did the best breakdown of what country music has become compared to how it used to be when it comes to like storytelling, and how many people have
Yep.
never even been on a horse, been to a farm, and they're consistently talking about it like this is their lifestyle just because it's that popular.
Yep.
Here's the words. He said common nouns, a simple adjective or something like that. He had like the simplest way of saying it, and it was such a perfect diss because I was like, he's spot on. That is
Oh yeah.
exactly what country music is doing. It's marketing itself as oh, we're the new pop, but we're not as pop because we're still country. And it's like, no, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're as far from country as possible. If Merle was around, if he was still alive, oh man, he'd be very upset. I'm pretty sure he's rolling in his grave on some of
Yep.
these artists, especially George Strait. He was super upset when he saw that Florida Georgia Line was the one making all of the big money nowadays. And you
Hmm.
know what? I'll say this, Tyler, you're actually a good artist. BK, I don't know what happened to you. After you grew out your hair, you just fell off, bro. I don't know what happened. I saw them live. They were really good. They're a really good band overall. I think that they're very talented. But yeah, they follow in that same exact thing, and they are the biggest influence in the genre of bro country.
I was just thinking, I was like, bro country is one of the worst things that ever happened.
Yeah, and now we're stuck with, like you said, the mix of rap and like what am I, a hypocrite? I just said rock and country sounds good, but here's the thing, as you said, they're aware of it. They're telling you straight up, this is it. The
Well,
part,
and rock and country can go together.
yes,
I mean, look at a band like Blacktop Mojo is a prime example of that, where it's like almost hard rock with a little bit of country thrown in.
true.
You know,
I
you go
believe
back, I mean, even to the older guys like Johnny Cash, and they had some rock elements. That goes well.
definitely.
But like hip hop and country, no, it just no.
The only way that you can mix those two together is if you're doing a genre swap where you have an artist that's usually known for rapping, and then they come in on the song and they do like a country verse, and then that country artist does the rap verse. I'll say that like Jimmy Allen working with country, he can mix the two things. Kane Brown, even though he's considered bro country, putting the rap influence in there and having a lot of people from urban culture come in and absolutely slay some bars. I was very impressed last year. I heard his album. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Mm,
I don't do that for many artists, especially in bro country. So, I'm always excited to hear something new as long as it's mixed correctly. It's
right.
the songs where, unfortunately, I'll say it, the dirt roads. I love Jason Aldean. I saw him live. I love the song Dirt Road. That was what got me into country because I was into rap before. I was like, it's like rap in country. It's basically just spoken word. Same with Sam Hunt. Yeah, both of them. But like Dirt Road changed everything because people were like, oh, people want to hear rap. And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure they just like that one artist. I don't think they want this. And they're like, no, 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 this is great. This is great for the market. So I'm guessing their managers were like, everybody start rapping. Just everyone, just
Mm-hmm.
use auto tune. Collaborate with all these artists that don't care about the genre. Kelsey Ballerini called out Halsey, literally called out Halsey on her album last year. And I'm like, well deserved. Absolutely. Halsey said, let's do a song together. I'm going to make you as famous as me, and dipped and said, nah, never mind. You don't matter anymore because you're not
Yep.
involved in my genre, or I don't have time to do anything else. And so what Kelsey is still technically pop country, but she does have some country roots in her. You can hear some real twang. You can hear some real passion, especially on that album from last year, Subject to Change. Everyone go get it. Please get real country music. I know it's pop country, but oh my gosh, there's some great country songs on there.
I gotta tell you, if people are looking for what I consider real country today, go north of the border, man. Up in Canada, their country music is like what we had in the early 2000s. It's awesome.
Hell
You got
yeah.
like Dean Brody, the Reclaws, Dallas Smith. You got all these guys up there just absolutely incredible.
Everyone
I
take your
love.
notebooks out and write down all of those names right now.
Yes,
I was
exactly.
I was told by Brian almost on the first day that I met him to check out these artists, and I'm still behind. So everyone take your notes, get your discographies ready. Start
Exactly.
binging. This is some real country music, and he's not wrong. Canada knows how to make some great country,
They
and
do.
it's crazy.
And
Because
there's rock elements in it. I mean, they bring in the rock and it works. It's
yeah,
awesome.
we always determined like, oh, it's our country, so it's an American thing. But no, they have the exact same like style. The
Yep.
thing that would be really crazy, I'm looking forward to this one day, is that like Europeans start doing country music.
That'd be great. I
And they
want
would
Smash into Pieces to start doing country. That'd be
tell their
incredible.
stories, and I'll just go like a stereotypical thing, like Italians start singing about a spaghetti. The country
Mamos and
likes it.
meatballs. Yeah.
That would be the craziest thing, but I would be like, yes, this is so cool because music can bring people together. That's
Yep.
the best thing about music. It's a language that works all over the world. It was literally considered a language for my high school to get me out of crappy study hall, to get me out of crappy classes that I didn't need. They were like, well, you need to have another what is it? They said, oh, you need to have another language class because I had Spanish and I was like, oh, I don't want to do Spanish anymore. They're like, oh, okay, well, guess what? Music is a language. Would you like to take a choir class? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll not add
There
another
you
choir
go.
class to my curriculum. This is perfect. So I was so happy to know that. And I tell everybody that. I'm like, listen, man, there is nothing else that can really put people together on all sides of the planet except for music. Like
Absolutely.
everyone has it as long as they have access to it, of course. I have no idea how some countries are doing. But
Absolutely.
I'll say as a whole, like it helps us all express ourselves and we can feel it just by the way that the music is made. But hey, we have a connection through all of this music that is all over the world.
Oh
We're
yeah.
able to constantly come across incredible artists in other countries, such as The Warning. Let's go into The Warning because honestly, I think that's the first one. They're in our hemisphere, by the way. That helps us makes it a little easier to grasp than the other ones. But I will definitely dive into European music as well as Scandinavian metal. Oh, the holy grail of metal music, and also Japanese metal. We'll go into that as well.
There you go.
But The Warning, how did you first come across this incredible band?
So it's a funny story. I didn't realize that I had seen them years ago. That video when they were little girls and did the cover of Enter Sandman. Because I remember seeing it a long time ago. I'm like, oh, they're cute little kids. Didn't think much about it. And then honestly, I believe it was when they redid Enter Sandman. When with the re-release of the Black Album.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, what, this band's incredible. And then I, do what I do and I started looking on YouTube for them and I found Choke. And Choke absolutely blew me away. To this day, that's not just one of my favorite songs by them, but one of my favorite songs, period. And the more that I brought them up, I'm like, these girls are absolutely incredible. And it didn't even like I knew they were from Mexico, but it didn't even phase me. It was like, okay, they're from Mexico. Who cares? Whatever. They're just so talented. And I've yet to hear a song from them that I didn't love.
Oh,
It just
truly.
absolutely they blew me away. And it's all, even like the Instagram lives that they would do with Danny singing or with Pow. And it's like I've never seen a band like this talented, this young. And
And
so,
so much free time to be
oh,
able to go live and be so personable with both
yeah,
English speaking and Spanish speaking fans
yeah,
simultaneously during the stream. Like incredible. All right, continue. I'm loving this.
yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that everyone in the Warning Army, like yourself and myself, we love them is that not only are they talented, but they're real. They put their real selves out there. And so I got to see them near Pittsburgh in Jurgles, which is my favorite venue. They were coming and I actually took my mom and dad because they liked them too. And that was incredible. We had the meet and greet. It was funny. So I brought a guitar to have them sign. And I was standing outside and their manager, Rudy, was there. And I had seen him in some of their videos. So I knew who he was. And I asked him, I said, hey, is it okay if we take a guitar? And he's like, yeah, no problem. It was a funny story. So we got in line. I had one and my dad had one behind me. And we got up and, they were sitting there. It was Danny, Pow, and Ale. And I got up and I had the guitar and Danny's like, oh, that's a pretty guitar. And she starts signing it. And she accidentally smudges her signature.
Oh no.
I literally thought she was going to cry. She was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't. And she's like freaking out. Here, I'm like it's fine by me. This kid's a character, just
Absolutely.
sign the next to it. I don't care. She felt so bad. Well, finally, Rudy was able to kind of fix it, and I got it on film. It was really a cool experience, and I got it signed. And then my dad was behind me, and he had the same guitar, and he's like, "Oh, never mind," like joking with her, and Pal starts laughing, and I was like, okay. And then seeing them live for the first time after that, they blew us away. Like I was already a huge fan. Seeing them live, it took another notch because they're that good. And then I saw them again in Pittsburgh. And I thought, okay, I had talked to Rudy about doing an interview. And he was like, yeah, we could probably make that happen, but it's not going to be today because we're going, kind of stay in contact. Because, all right. So I saw that they were going to tour Canada with 3 Days Grace. And one of the stops was in London, Ontario, which really isn't too far from me. So I thought, all right, I'm going to get a ticket, go there. And I reached out to Rudy. I said, hey, I talked to you briefly in Pittsburgh, and I'd love to be able to interview the girls. It was a long shop. I'm like, it's worth it. Well, he got back to me, and he's like, yep, show up at 3:00 that day. I'm freaking out, because they become my favorite band. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm actually going to be able to interview them. And so I went up, and unfortunately, Ale was sick, so she couldn't do the interview. But I remember Rudy came out and got me and, took me back to the green room. And that really was the first time since like my very first interview with First 11 that I was like nervous as could be. And I walked in and Danny and Power sitting on the couch. They're like, hi. And I'm like, but again, once I sat down, it's just, they were so cool and friendly and just they were exactly what you think they are. So, there's no pretense. They're not faking it. They were just genuinely sweet girls, and it made it very easy to talk to them. And it really was a blessing to be able to talk to them.
I'm looking forward to having an experience of just seeing them one day, because
it's worth it.
I believe that my camera quality on this phone that I have is so good that I finally can put something out on YouTube that'll just get a hint of what they actually sound like live. I have watched so many live performances with god awful cameras and god awful sound quality, and I'm just like, guys, you're not doing them justice. Whatever this is, fix it, please. Someone just buy an iPhone or something. I don't know what you need to do, but I need to hear the full tone because I cannot hear it because it's so scrambled and so distorted most of the time, and especially when they go live on Instagram. I love that, but I'm just like, I want to hear what they actually sound like. So having them in person, that'll be an incredible experience whenever they come back to Chicago. It's nice that I live close to a city that is so incredibly popular, but the problem is I don't like my city, so I don't want to go to the city that's so incredibly popular. I'm waiting for that day that they want to go to a different area, and then I can be like, oh, let's go. Thank God. They're not in crazy town.
It's worth it. You're gonna love seeing them live. They just
no doubt
blow you away.
And I'm going to get a real shirt too. This one I got myself. This is a custom made, just in case you guys are watching instead of listening. This one that I had to get it because my old one is a large, and somehow I'm blaming the pandemic. I gained weight and I have to wear extra large shirts now. So everything large does not look good.
No, it's not. It's the cotton shrunk. That's what it is. It's
that's it.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So when I threw it in the dryer, right, it was a large. Now it is a medium. I promise you. That's no questions, no cap.
It can't handle the physical, the muscular physique is the problem.
That's it. I'm too swole.
That's what I blame it on.
We're too swole. We're too swole for the merchandise.
Exactly.
But no, I always want to upgrade my stuff. I always want to get stuff. Whenever I go to a concert, I always bring back a shirt. I always bring back a CD or something like that. If it's signed, then it's always a big plus. But let's talk about the collecting, and then we'll go back to the world music because there's plenty of bands to talk about still. How long have you been taking incredible amounts of merchandise and making the most beautiful decorated hallway room and house in general to just have, like, I wish there were screenshots that were available. I would put them up if they were there. His house is a museum. He has a museum for music. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame calls him for advice. They're like, what can we put in here? Brian, Brian, we need you to support us. What can we do to make the Elvis exhibit more exciting, like your basement is, like your hallway? I'm telling you, it is so beautiful. It's such a great collection.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's really one of those things where, it's what I love to do. And like you said, when you go to shows, you want to support those bands. If you like them, so I'll buy merchandise. I don't really care about the monetary value of it. I mean, some of it has, some significant value, but I don't. That doesn't motivate me. It's when I see these things, they bring back memories. So like you said, like I've got signed guitars, I've got signed album covers, a lot of memorabilia. It makes me remember those great times that I had with, my buddy Kevin, or with my parents or my brothers or other friends, and the experience of, like talking with Danny and Pal and all the other artists that I've had the blessing to meet and build friendships with. When I see these things, that's what it brings back to me. And so to me, that's the real value. It's not so much having, I try not to be materialistic. I think to some degree we probably all are, and of course I am. But it's what makes me happy. So it makes me happy to be surrounded by those things that bring me back those memories. I just like displaying things in a way that I think looks cool. My parents are very much the same way. My dad is very similar. And so it's, I walk into a home, it's like I want it to be home. I want it to be a reflection of me.
Yes.
So that's why I have these things that I love.
I completely understand. I mean, look what I'm sitting in front of right now.
Exactly. You get it.
This whole media collection that I created is exactly for that reason, to have that nostalgia, to bring me back to those moments. There are some times where I want to record and take the clips of audiences reacting to movies and put them in, so that when my kids are watching these movies one day, they're like, Dad, why is there that audience there? I'll be like, because you need to hear this. You need to understand how incredible this movie was. The first time that Cap picks up Thor's hammer is the greatest moment in cinema history. I have never heard a crowd go so loud. And then we got it again for No Way Home when Andrew Garfield shows up. I was like, what? Lightning in a bottle. This does not happen. But you watch them at home and you're just like, it's not the same. It's not the same. But it's still nice to go and relive that. It's still nice to have that, to hold it, to say, this is mine. This is what I got for myself. And because we're both millionaires, we know exactly how to keep our budgets perfect. That is the truth. I live in a mansion. He lives in a castle. We are here to tell you how to save money with our sponsor today. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. We went to a Tony Robbins seminar.
Me and Mr. Beast, we go way back.
That's right.
Dude, do you know how young he is?
No.
I believe he's 27.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I just hang out with Elon. I'm like, hey, come check out my cool stuff.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Me, I can't find the right billionaire. I have them all on speed dial, but I'm just like, which one do I want to contact right now? But
sometimes you're like, some of these guys are dorks. I don't really want to spend time with them.
Like Zuckerberg. Yeah, exactly. Dude, Instagram was having a fit today. I don't know what was going on. I had a moment where I was like, did my post offend somebody? Because it's like frozen. And you know what it was? Josh from the All American Savage Show podcast, he liked one of my posts, and I was like, well, thank God I can see that before I get blocked from the internet.
Exactly.
for expressing something. But regardless, back to what we were talking about. Yes, guys, we're completely joking. We're not millionaires. I swear to God, this collection behind me is so incredibly expensive. In my mind, it's going to stay exactly the price that I bought it at. But I know that if there was a fire that happened in the house, it would all be just plastic.
Oh, it'd be devastating. But you know what?
I have it on digital,
what it is.
But yeah, it's something special. It's something you can hold, you can think about. Yeah. Like you said, you can remember the experiences of talking to these people. You can remember the way that they looked at you. You can remember the things that they were wearing, and all of that will come to you just because you have that really powerful memory of talking to somebody in person, seeing something in person. It's so much better than like the live streams that we were watching on the internet for the last couple of years. Like,
absolutely.
You need to have that personal interaction. You need to be able to remember how awful the smell is, because I swear there's some people that don't understand when it says no marijuana, don't bring marijuana in and don't make the entire room smell like a skunk. I've been to
True.
like 3 rap concerts. I got another one coming up Saturday. I am so scared for that fact because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a clothespin on my nose again. This is just not gonna be
Right,
fun.
you feel like you're gonna get like secondhand high. You're like, what's going on here?
That's the truth. But at a country concert, you can always rely on the most wonderful beer smell that you've ever smelled in your life.
True.
Because it's always there and it's perfectly fine. It doesn't at least give you secondhand crap. So that's good.
Exactly.
So let's go back to the world artists. Let's talk about some artists that we came across. I'm going to talk about the shirt that he's wearing right now. Brian turned me on to a band called Smashed Into Pieces.
Yeah.
And they are incredible. They are from Sweden, one of the greatest countries ever to exist, especially for people that love rock, metal, and anything melodic. If you like
I
melodic
agree.
music, that's where you go. That
Yep.
is ABBA is over there, and of course, Smash Into Pieces over there. The Pieces is over there. There we go. I got to say words right. And of course, one of my favorite bands, Svavelvinter and Solution 45. I love Christian Alvestam over in Sweden as well. So, how did you come across this incredible band?
It really again, it was YouTube. I mean, like I've talked about in a lot of videos that Kevin and I've made. I find a lot of my music through YouTube, where on the right hand side say you may like, and excuse me, I'll never forget the very first Smash Into Pieces song that I found was "Stay," which isn't necessarily one of their biggest hits, but I was like, man, this sounds incredible. So then I looked up the band Smash Into Pieces. I was like, all right, these guys are really good. So I became a fan. But what really made me a super fan, because they really are. I mean, you know me, I love hundreds of bands. There's bands that I absolutely adore. But, gun to my head, my favorites would be The Warning and Smash Into Pieces.
Yeah.
And so I kind of became a super fan when I saw them live in Philadelphia back in 2019. They came with Within Temptation, and it was an incredible show. I'll never forget, Smash Into Pieces was actually the opening band. And I took my dad with me, and I was like, I think this band's pretty good. I think we're going to like them. And it was the coolest experience because, it starts out, the whole arena was black, and you couldn't see anything. And you just hear the of the drums. Well, if you know anything about Smash Into Pieces, you can see here, this is the mask of the drummer, the Apocalypse DJ, and it just lit up.
Oh,
all you see is this. That's the only, and he's going back and forth as he's drumming. And my dad leans over. He's like, this is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. And they were phenomenal live. And it was just like, all right, I'm hooked.
yes.
And they were like, oh, at the end, we're going to be, in the back. We want to meet everybody. So I'm like, well, we got to go down there. So we go in and we got to meet and talk to the guys, and they were awesome. And so this was before Kevin and I started the channel. And so when we started the channel, one of the very first videos that we made was an artist spotlight on Smash Into Pieces. And, a tag sent it to, and they loved it. And I've actually become Facebook friends with every single one of the band members. And I've made multiple videos, and they're some of the nicest guys you could meet. I mean, just genuinely cool guys. And every time they come out with music, I absolutely love it. And so that's what I was telling you. I was like, dude, you got to check this band out.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love about them is you hear song to song, it's not the same.
No.
It's not even the same genre. It's like people ask me what type of music. I'm like, it depends on the song.
Their first album is like the only one that sticks to a specific rock and electronic sound.
Yep.
And then the rest of them are all over
the globe. All over the place. And they're good at all of it. That's what blows me away. And they I'm going to see them in April in Toronto, so I am pumped.
Yeah. I am so pumped too for you. For one, because I mean, they're awesome as it is. For two, because they have toured with some of my favorite bands, including my favorite band, Red. Yep. But like their mixing is so incredible, especially from their album last year, Disconnect, which you of course saw me review on that long live stream. I was in love with it, man. I was having so much fun. Allison, she listened all the way through in the car with me, and as soon as she finished, she's like, "Oh, it's over." Like
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
that's the kind of experience you want to get from any band. For people that haven't heard this group before, or the band, I should say, it's basically if Daughtry had a metal dream where he was also sitting in an EDM playroom and got shocked by lightning from one of the greatest bass sounds you've ever heard mixed with Starset. You just take
Yeah.
all of that. That's smashed into pieces because Starset, I can say with the masks and stuff like that, they have their own aesthetic where
Yep.
they have their identities concealed most of the time. When the lead vocalist is named Chris, right?
Chris Adam. Yep.
Chris Adam. When he comes out, is he also in a mask or is
No,
he
it's only the drummer, the Apocalypse DJ, wears the
okay?
mask.
And he's APOC, right?
Yep.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I remember Jack telling me about that. But I think that Smash Into Pieces is probably going to smash into our music stations. Like they are going to be all over our
Oh,
stuff
without
pretty
a doubt.
soon. Like they're probably going to be as big as In Flames was when they finally hit the States.
Yeah, if not bigger. I don't know how they're not already bigger than they are. I mean, they are. And one of the things that, you mentioned Chris Adam, he has one of the best voices. He's one of my favorite vocalists, and he has such a unique voice.
Mhm.
It's not one of those voices that you can easily imitate. It's kind of like, to me, it's like Brent Smith of Shinedown.
Yeah,
Such an awesome singer that has such a unique voice that he doesn't sound like anyone else.
truly.
And I
Truly.
love that. Absolutely love that. And Chris Adam, I swear, can sing any type of music, can sing anything. But then there's songs where it's Benjamin takes the lead singer. And it's like, this band just, they
Wait,
can do
what?
anything. Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
there's another vocalist?
Yeah. So Benjamin, one of the lead guitarists, the song My Beast, that's Benjamin singing.
Oh,
And Benjamin also, if I think did I tell you about Sore by Janebo?
no. As
So
far as
they
I know.
actually, there's like a spin-off, what I'll call a spin-off band. It's Benjamin Janebo and Chris Adams' brother, Daniel Sorbai. And what it is like if you took Smash Into Pieces and made them a folk band. And it's phenomenal because Daniel sounds almost exactly like his brother, Chris Adam.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's literally like folk music. And it's fantastic.
Dude,
I absolutely love it.
Imagine them touring together.
Oh, I hope they do. I hope they bring Daniel over. Guys, if you see this, please bring Daniel with you. Have him be the opening act. It'd be incredible.
Have a folk band start the
Yes.
rock and metal show.
It would work. It would absolutely work.
Who would co-headline with Smash Into Pieces in this scenario?
But for me, the
The
greatest.
Warning?
Oh, I would be like, shut up and take my money. I'm going to every show. I'm quitting my job.
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
become a roadie.
I'll be on the bus with you guys the whole time.
Exactly. And we'll throw in like Eva Under Fire and Blacktop Mojo, and I will never come back home.
He'll get he'll sell all of his merchandise and get them water bottles that last the entire tour. He'll be the water boy on the side just to have conversations with them, just to sleep in the same bus at night. This is how much he loves these two incredible bands, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. These bands are incredible, and if you guys were awesome enough to come back to my Smash Into Pieces reactions, I would have reacted to every single song in their discography, and I would have gone to Like This, and you would have seen me dance like a crazy person, because I swear that song makes me dance.
Well, yeah,
It's
because
so EDM.
that's a great point. Like This, finally somebody brought the saxophone back.
Yes.
I'm like, we need more saxophone in rock. But you hit it on the nail. I'm not a dancer. I don't know how to dance, but if any band makes me want to dance, it's Smash Into Pieces.
Awesome. That's the best.
You can't help it. You're like, yep.
You vibe with them.
You do. They're absolutely incredible. And like I said, they're genuinely awesome dudes. And they're very appreciative. And that's one of the things, going back to what we were talking about, like with Sweden and I'll say Europe in general. When Kevin and I will make videos about some of our favorite European bands, they are so appreciative of that. They'll message you like, thank you so much. They'll share it. Their parents and family members will comment on it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, for me, that's worth more than money. It's like that is the coolest experience in the world. When you make a video and you put the time and you put your heart into a video about a band or an artist and they like it and they reach out to you, that's the coolest feeling ever.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% because the few that did actually end up in my comment section before I moved all my reactions over to my main channel, I would always get starstruck. I would be like, all right, well, I know I'm not going to pin my comment anymore. Let me just delete my comment. Let me put their comment all the way at the top. You know, I couldn't believe it because Smash Into Pieces was one of them. And they were on that first reaction that I did to Rise Up. That was no, that was the second reaction. The first one I did was to a different song. But regardless, I was impressed, man. When I heard you gave me one song that I was like, what in the world is this? Because you said it was like rock, and I'm like, it feels like dance music. And then we got to Rise Up, and Rise Up is an anthem.
Yep.
It's a thematic anthem that just it's so good. And it was for the soundtrack for the game Destiny 2. Out of all things, something that I have played before, and I was like, these guys are gonna be huge. They have a good deal. They have a great sound. They have a great attitude. They're commenting on random people's reactions. This is incredible. You never see this kind of stuff. And then, of course, we find the warning. The warning is also doing that. Much younger, brand new to basically American radio. I guess we could say radio these days, but American streaming services. We got hit with choke all over TikTok. Like that's where it went first. I found them because Pau was doing the drumming for Olivia Rodrigo's song Brutal. And I put that in the first reaction that I did so that people could understand where I came from. But as soon as I saw her, I was like, she plays with passion.
Oh,
I like this. I like this. And then I put Choke on my list and I was like, I don't know if I really should get to this band. I didn't get anyone requesting them. So I'm like, I mean, they are next on my list. I guess I'll try it. And I was blown away. And I didn't even, even in that reaction, I was like, you know, I love this, but I know that they could do even better. And then they did. They put Evolve out next. Oh my gosh. My heavens. My soul was soaring. I was so happy to hear the heaviness. I was so happy to see how incredibly creative and how low budget it was, but it still looked extremely professional with that drone shot and everything. It was so cool. So getting out of the warning, going back to the world bands, another band that comes to mind, especially because of my channel and all of the reactions I've ever made, Love Bites. Love Bites. Like Japan. Never in the million years, 10 years ago, be saying like, man, I wonder what Japan is doing with metal. you would always be like,
specifically Japanese girls.
Yeah, you would be like, oh, metal. Well, we have pop, we have rap, we have our rock. Metal wasn't even a thing 10 years ago. Nobody really cared about it except for like the scene community. So now we're all getting into this stuff where every generation can listen to this finally because we have streaming available. And so you could talk to a 14-year-old to a 60-year-old, and they love this band. They love your bands. Like you said, The Warning, Smash Into Pieces. They're constantly complimenting. They're obsessing over these bands in a good way. And they're making sure that like you make it, they make it clear to anybody listening that you are supposed to love it. They don't want you to be like, oh, that was good. Oh, that was nice. Like, I am so scared if anyone were ever to be like, oh, put The Warning on Mike the Music Snob's stream and have him talk about it. I'd be like, no, whatever you do, don't give it to Mike. He's going to ruin it in some way. Or Fantano, he'll be like, oh, it's just another rock structure as we can see here on the second stream.
You know, Mike the Music Snob did, he did blast Thor. He didn't like him. I watched that and I was like, really, dude? He's like, they're forgettable. I'm like, what?
Dude, what it's like insane. When you love music that much, when you're so involved in it that much, I guess that your passion is blinding you from how it feels to love music again, because you're constantly looking at the technical aspects of everything.
Right.
But you know, we as fans, we as people that want to hear music and also can be critical of music, sometimes put that bias on the side of like, I'm so smart, look at me and how much I know about strong song structure and stuff like that. And we're just like, I just want to, rock. I just want to vibe. I
Yep.
just want to feel something. And when these bands do that, it's incredible. So back to the Love Bites. Love Bites is probably one of the most technically impressive bands I've
Oh yeah.
heard from the last probably like 10 years or so. Because I don't know how long ago that power metal was dying or was reborn. I love Theocracy. I truly love Theocracy. But then I had to compare them to The Warning. And I was like, okay, what would I rather listen to? The Warning or Theocracy? And I was like, well, The Warning is more simple, but it's also more catchy and it doesn't have as much technical aspects. But then I compared Theocracy to their genre, which would be Love Bites, and Love Bites blew them out of the water. I
Yep.
was like, there's so much more guitar work, there's so much more drumming, and I love the vocalist for Theocracy. I could barely hear sometimes when the vocalist of Love Bites escaping my, it was Asami. I can barely hear sometimes the lyrics, but she's had such a powerful voice, and the musicianship behind it with Miyako is incredible,
Yep.
incredible. And it's just like there are bands that you've fallen in love with for a long time that finally are going to take second place. That's probably how you felt for like you love Red too, right?
Yep.
But then you got into Smash Into Pieces and you're like, all right, Red, take a seat for a little bit.
Yep.
I'm getting into this band. And then you finally get Disconnect and you're like, all right, Red, I'm going to see you a little bit later. You have a sit way back there, way back there. Here's me and Smash Into Pieces. I'm going to say it like Finn McKenty. Here's me and Smash Into Pieces hanging out at the bar. There's Red in the back corner looking at us, having a good time, drinking beers, toasting to how great their music is.
Yep.
Like that's how it feels when you find a band that you truly are passionate about, that you truly love, from the fandom, from everything. They're talented beyond belief, and they're so personable. And that's the thing I love about it, is that you don't feel afraid to say something to them. Some
Oh,
of these
exactly.
bands, you're so scared. I mean, when I saw Lauren Babick, tiny little room, literally 8 feet away from me, walk 8 steps, say hi, couldn't do it. I was too scared. I was like, what do I say? I don't know everything that she's ever made. I can't compliment her in the right way. I was here for Seraphim. That's all I'm thinking. Then she puts out a new post or something like that. I was like, hey, I loved your performance in Naperville. And she's like, oh, you were there? That's so cool. And I was like, damn it, I should have said something.
Yep.
But with these bands, you got The Warning, and you have Smash Into Pieces that are open to talking to people, and they're open to listening to their fans, and they're open to consistently upgrading everything that they do to make sure that
Mhm.
you feel special. Like I said, they go on these streams for like an hour every weekend, and they're speaking all kinds of different languages. Like, how crazy is that? I'm guessing that, of course, Smash Into Pieces knows Swedish as well.
Yep.
So I would love to watch them go live and have Swedish fans that are in there, and I'd be like, I have no idea what you're saying, but yes, yes, I
Exactly.
agree.
The good
Uh,
thing is for us is that a lot of the people in particularly Western Europe are very fluent in English. So a lot of times they're just speaking English.
Very true.
And it's not just the band, like everybody there. And so, we're kind of spoiled that way in that we don't have to learn another language to be able to communicate with people.
Mhm.
And I've learned, there's so many of those artists over there. Like, I think of Forever Still in Denmark. Maya
Mm.
Shining, she is one of the best singers in the world. When you hear her talk and speak English, she barely has an accent. I mean, you wouldn't even know. And that's one of the things that has always kind of perplexed me is, people here in the US, they don't know anything about these bands. I'm like, they're incredible. And you tell them they're from Sweden or they're from Mexico or they're from Denmark. They're like, it's
Yeah,
like
our
they're
first thought
singing,
is,
they're singing
yeah,
English. Like you
that they won't
can't,
even,
you
yeah,
wouldn't even know that they're not American. And who cares? You
yes.
know,
That's
it's
the other
awesome
thing.
music.
I will say this: Love Bites lyrics, mostly English.
Yep.
Warning lyrics, mostly English.
Yep.
Smash Into Pieces lyrics, all English. They
Yep.
have options.
Amaranth, all those bands. It's
Oh
in
yeah.
English.
Oh my God. Amaranth.
Oh, Elise Rid is phenomenal.
One of the greatest voices.
Oh, voice of an
Truly.
angel.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely. What was the song that you told me? Um,
Oh, uh,
I know, I know. I'm thinking about it right now.
Endlessly.
Endlessly.
Oh,
I was in love with that. Dude, that
yeah.
stuff still plays in my head sometimes.
Yep.
Because I'm just like, wow, I need to listen to them again. I really do need to listen to all their stuff. I only knew Digital World. I knew that album, whatever stuff came from that album because it was
Yep.
on Pandora. And Pandora is just like, you like singles? Here's singles. Oh, I like albums. No, here's singles. I like Red. Okay, here's all the other bands that aren't Red on this station for Red.
Yep.
Wow, thanks Pandora. You get me perfectly. That's how it felt all the time. But I would come across these bands, and like I was telling Chris on the other interview, I would screenshot them and I would make sure that I would remember them or write them down, and I'd be like,
Yep.
okay, I got to look into this band sometime. And I really wish that I had the time to go back to my Facebook screenshots to find them there, but I'm like, right now I'm all good. I'm pretty sure I found like 2,000 bands last year. I'm contacting them almost daily to try to see
Yep.
if we can set up interviews and stuff, new bands, old bands, all of it. And I'm just like, this is such a wonderful world of music in general, where we're so engaged and we're so willing to listen to anything. Like you said, you're going to listen to that folk group
Yeah.
because Smash Into Pieces is great, because that Daniel sounds like Chris from
Yep.
the band. Like that's an incredible thing, that you really do connect to everything that they are, and you really do support them in every way. We truly do stan some of these artists, and it's incredible because here we are coming from the love of a cover band in Pennsylvania,
Exactly.
all American, baby. That you were in the video, one of their biggest video of all
It's
time
true.
for Sweet Child of Mine.
It's true.
Their cover, incredible too. And it's just all American fun. Now here
Yep.
we are talking about bands that we're discovering in different countries, constantly sharing it with everyone around us. Like, you need that's it's not an option. You need to listen to this
Exactly.
band. You uh, no dinner for you tonight, not until you hear this band. That's
Yep.
how it feels. And some of these experiences, like I told you with Allison sitting in the car with me listening to Smash Into Pieces, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you want to hear
Oh,
from
it's
everyone.
that's the coolest feeling when you're passionate about a band. Or I'll go back to the Warning. Like when I went and I saw them and they were opening up for it was it was the Hailstorm tour, but Hailstorm wasn't there.
Okay.
Pretty
Who?
Reckless was like the
Oh, Pretty
headliner for the
Reckless.
show.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of people there for the Pretty Reckless, and they didn't know who the Warning was. They're like, "Who's the Warning?" And I like, tell them they're three sisters from Mexico. They're like, "Eh." I'm like, just wait. Two songs in, people are like, "Oh my god!" They're like, "Where's the merch table?" I'm like, "See, I told you." And you see their jaw drop. I'm like, "That's what I'm telling you. Like, you just gotta hear them."
Yes.
Same with Smash Into Pieces. Same with a lot of these. And when you see that reaction, that is such a cool feeling.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. This is, as music lovers, as music addicts, as concert goers, we're constantly trying to enhance experience that we've had, and we're trying to enhance our knowledge of the artist because we're so open now. We've seen all of the best, we've seen all of our favorites, and you're just like, there's got to be something else out there. Well, who else can take the throne? Who's sitting with me at the bar, and who am I putting in the back corner looking at me from a distance?
Yep.
I swear, man, I've watched so much Finn McKenty. It's unbelievable. This is so fun. I
I'm having a
swear,
blast, man. This is
so fun,
awesome.
man. This is the kind of interviews that I wish that everybody had. If I didn't have to plan out anything and we just talk, because I ramble on for a while, and I'm like,
It's all good, man. It's
if I
fun.
don't care, then I'm just gonna talk. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it works better that way. The thing about music that really like touches our soul is the effect that it's had on us for a very long time. Both of us have had experience in the faith. And for
Mm.
me, my first time hearing music that wasn't just the mainstream stuff was hearing choir music and my mom singing it specifically, and just having a personal connection and actually joining the choir after a while. Was there anything like that that happened to you growing up?
As far as like my faith journey, or
Faith journey in person, something of more of a deeper message that you got from music as opposed to just listening through a cassette or CD.
Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely, once I became a Christian and, came to faith in Christ, and, I've always loved music. And like we talked about before, I think good music makes you feel something or tells a story. And so the one thing with Christian music, and it kind of is weird for me to say it, but it's really how I feel. And it's the same with like Christian films, is I always appreciated that it was made. I loved the message, but the quality wasn't always there. And I don't mean every Christian band. I mean, there was some that were great when I was a kid.
Mercy Me.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Striper was cool. There was a
Oh yeah, yeah,
lot
yeah.
that were good, but a lot of it, I really hate to say this, but it was kind of cheesy, or
Mhm.
uh, maybe that was less than professional sounding. It sounded like somebody didn't have much of a budget or wasn't the most polished singer. And I think we've seen a lot of strides in that to where it's gotten better. And I'll be honest, I think, and I might be off base, but for me personally, I think one band more than any other that I think has made strides in that is Skillet. I think Skillet coming in and being absolutely professional, sounding fantastic, putting on an amazing live show, and also not being ashamed to talk about Christ, not
Yes.
being afraid to bring him up. And they're doing this at incarceration. They're doing this at the big metal festivals, not just the Christian festivals. That has made such an impact to where I think a lot of artists, and I think that combined with the fact that a lot of Christians in music aren't, they're not ashamed to say, hey, I'm a Christian, and talk about their faith,
Mhm.
but they don't need to be on a Christian label. They don't need to be, and honestly, I think it's more effective if they're not, because they're coming into secular music, or they're coming into, these areas where people may not really have, they've heard of Jesus, but not really. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I think when they're like, oh, this band's pretty cool, they're talking about Jesus. They're not cheesy. They're not, low quality. As weird as that may sound, I think that may bring some people to the faith, or may at least plant a seed.
Mhm.
And I think that's fantastic. So I think bands like Skillet, bands like Red, bands like, the Protest, some of those others who, they're legit rock or metal, and people who aren't Christians like their music. That's
True.
huge.
True. True. For me, coming from, like I said, the choir stuff, I got used to the hymns in church. I would get close to the books for music always. But for like when I found contemporary Christian music, which unfortunately is not as amazing as it sounds,
Mm-hmm.
um, I got so hooked on the style and the reverberation. Like above all, I love that song. I still love that song to this day because it has such a powerful chorus. That's the thing about it, is that music, if it hits you, it's going to be something catchy. It's going to be something that you remember, and it's going to be something you sing to yourself in the shower. This kind of music, the heavier type of music, wasn't as expected to be in the genre of Christian based music.
Right.
So, like you saying, Skillet mixing that, bringing their own faith to the stage.
GFM's another prime example.
GFM now, what is Maggie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is she? Magdalene Rose is what she's going by now.
Magdalene Rose. Yeah, so they brought their faith as well, very young. I mean, Skillet has
Mm-hmm.
been doing it for a long time. Their first album, very different from their fourth album.
Yes.
I mean, there was one moment where I actually thought that John Cooper had a really, really good smooth voice. And I was like, whoa, where'd the rasp come in?
Yeah, exactly.
But they do, you're right. They go to these secular concerts and they're spreading the word of Christ. And that is something that Christians are called to do. That is something
Yep.
part of the faith, is to go to every single neighbor and spread the word.
Yep.
And you're not supposed to push it down anyone's throat. You're not supposed to have that experience. But my coworker specifically, they said that like they didn't know Skillet was Christian. And of course, they get turned off to that kind of stuff when they start talking about Jesus. But before that, they're rocking out. Like you said, they're enjoying the music that's been made. I
Mm.
believe in positivity. I believe in optimism. And I believe there are lots of bands out there that are pushing great messages onto people and actually do believe what they're saying. So in the case of all of these bands that we've discussed, whether they mentioned God or not doesn't matter to us. We have a personal connection. We've personally connected, like you said, to their story that they wrote down for us to listen to appreciate. And we will spread the word with the tongues of fire to all of the people in the world what we love to listen to. It doesn't matter where they come from. We have that gift through music. I'm usually not as open about this religious stuff. So it's really hard for me to like go back into that mindset because I
Sure.
had broken away from what I originally had believed, but I never left the feelings that I got from it. I never left the experience behind it. It was always there. And I hope that you had something as well that affected you and made you say like, this band was made to come into my life. This band made this song for me on this bad day that it's going to help me through everything. Or maybe this artist that I never gave a shot to before, Tom McDonald, for example, has something to say that I agree with. And
Like
maybe,
his song Church.
yeah, maybe that specifically, especially that song, has to do with God's word to you in the modern day. Maybe
Hmm.
it's not all just the old fashioned stories we've been told multiple times. Maybe there is a progression that's going to show through the music. And I love that. That is something incredible.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And, I've always told people, and this isn't an original thought by me by any means, but it's, and the Bible is very clear that there's only one path to the Father, that's through Christ. And I absolutely, he is the only way. But there are a billion paths to him. There are a billion different ways that he pulls people to him. And some of that may be what a lot of the church sees as unconventional, and that could be heavy metal music that sounds satanic because it's, people aren't listening to the lyrics like GFM. They're Maggie's screaming, they got heavy guitar. But if you listen to the lyrics, that's reaching people. And God knows exactly who needs to hear that message in that way to bring them to his son. And so that's a problem that I have with a lot of the church is that people are like, well, that doesn't sound the way that I think it should be Christian, so therefore it's not. You don't make that call. I don't make that call. God does. And so
Yes.
I think we need to understand and we need to accept, look, he brought you to Christ in a way. He brought me to Christ in a way. He brings someone else to Christ in a completely different way that may not make sense to us because we don't see what he's doing. And I think if we accept that, we're like, look, our goal is to show love and to point people to Christ and then let God do it. Let the Holy Spirit work it. We're not the ones that save people. We're not the ones that determine how they get there. He is.
We're a guide stone.
Exactly. And sometimes, as humbling as it is and as hard as it is for me personally to accept, sometimes I just need to shut up and do what I'm told by God.
Yes. I
And
feel that
that's
as well.
easier said than done. But when you do it and afterwards you're like, okay, that was rewarding. I'm glad that I did that.
Yes. I perfectly said as well. This is so good, man. I'm telling you. We had so much fun and then we
Absolutely,
finish
man.
off with these deep messages. This was incredible. Thank you so much for being here, Brian.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for
Everyone,
having me, man. This was a blast.
yeah, dude, everybody, you need to support Inspiring How You See That. Go to the channel,
Thank you.
go to the Instagram page, go to their Facebook, everywhere that you can. Try to give this group of people that truly love music, that truly love entertainment, that truly love their fans more views, more respect, more love overall. And hopefully you will come across a band an artist. I don't know what else you guys covered. Video games, a video game,
all kinds of stuff, man.
Someone in entertainment will take your soul, just like The Warning did for Brian, and Red did for me, and so many other bands. And they will give you that so you can consistently spread it like the tongues of fire. Well, I'm really good at this ending thing.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, you can spread it with the tongues of fire. You can tell everybody what you found and give them hope that there is great music in the world. And Brian, man, you're an awesome person. Like, honestly,
you too, brother.
I love you as a brother.
Love you too, man.
It's amazing that we were able to randomly meet through some guy in Bangladesh, through a cover band in your local area that I just so happened to come across because I had won their competition. Also because YouTube algorithm loves pushing cover bands.
That's right. You did win. I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah. Had I not won,
what did you get for that? I can't remember.
I got the t-shirt and I got 1 through 5.
That's right.
1 through 5.
That's right.
And so when Autumn messaged me because I won it, he was like, "Hey, do you want to be part of it?" So had that never happened, this is the God's truth right here. Had that never happened, this experience right now would have never taken place.
Exactly.
This person would have never entered into my life. I would have never found Smash Into Pieces. I probably would have found The Warning, but Smash Into Pieces would have been out of my reach. I would have been like, no. And also everyone in Brian's group of people, all the people that he gets to interview, all the interviews that I get to watch on his channel. Once again, plugging that channel, Inspiring How You See That. You go right there, watch an interview. If you love the artist, give them love as well. That's how it goes. Just keep spreading the love.
And thanks, man. Honestly, we appreciate that. And I can speak for Kevin too, you know.
Oh yeah,
he's
Kevin's
my
awesome
best
as
friend.
well.
He's a great dude, and we're in this together. And you know, we appreciate that. And really that's what it boils down to, is we have such a passion for music and entertainment, and we want to share that with people. And also at the same token, it's like, you know, like we talked about with gifts. One of my gifts I know from the Lord is communication and talking to people. And so it's like, this is awesome. I can serve him, and I'm nowhere near perfect, don't get me wrong, but I can use it to serve him while doing something that I absolutely love to do. And I again, like I said before, I get no greater joy than like you said, a band that you talk about and somebody's like, "Oh man, I found them through you. Thank you." And you know, I've found bands through you. I'm thinking like Weekend Picnic. You know, you had a video,
awesome,
and
guys.
Those guys are fantastic. And it's like, and that's what I love. You know, even if we weren't friends, which of course we are, if I found your channel, I love it because it's showing me bands that I've never heard of. And I'm constantly looking for that. Yes. So thank you for what you're doing.
Oh man, I appreciate that so much. When I started the reaction stuff, I thought it was going to be just a little fad thing, like, oh, I'm just doing what everyone else is doing. But I decided to make it my own thing, because after my reaction was the most important part of the reaction, the full discussion. Everyone else would pause, which I didn't know how to do yet because I didn't screen record. And they would pause and they'd be like, "Whoa, dude, I can't believe that happened." But I was all the way through the song, finishing from beginning to end. I get to have my final thoughts on it. And it just came to me naturally because I truly love to criticize and appreciate fantastic music, or good music in this case, because there's some brand new artists out there. It was so nice for me. And to have anybody put their own comment or feedback in there to tell me what they thought of it, or give me a compliment like, "Oh, you really described that well," it made me feel so nice, because it's like, that's what my channel was made for, just telling people my thoughts on things. And that's what this podcast is about. So dude, thank you so much for being here again.
Thanks for having me, man. It's really been a blast.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to come back on again. This was fun.
Oh, we'll definitely have you back on. You know, you got your new album dropping. I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
But thanks again, Brian. And thank all of you guys for watching this incredible podcast. What is this? No, this incredible interview, chat, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
This was so much fun, and Brian will return. Do not worry. Once again, find all of his stuff in the description down below.
Like Dan said, we want to thank you guys for spending this time with us. Make sure you show Dan some love. You know, subscribe to the channel. That helps all of us. We do this not for the money, but the more people that see it, the more joy we get of sharing our love. So give them a thumbs up, share it, you know, make sure you subscribe. That helps them out big time.
Thank you so much, man. And all you guys, every single one of you that was able to handle all of the shenanigans from the beginning to the end with a super religious message. You're awesome. And I hope all of you have an awesome day and stay safe out there.
See y'all.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the Media Man Dan podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome day and stay safe out there. Peace.